preaching. Yeah, I'm made for this. Every day I live for Jesus. I ain't ashamed of this. No compromise, revival. You feel it? I know you do. Now bow your knee and let this Holy Spirit over you. On the block street preaching. Yeah, I'm made for this. Every day I live for Jesus. I ain't ashamed of this. No compromise, revival. You feel it? I know you do. Now bow your knee and let this Holy Spirit over you.
I'll be preaching from the morning till the evening, preaching in the summer or the winter, any season, anywhere, anytime. We repping Jesus. I can't stop, won't stop until I start breathing. This is for the sinners, believers, and the heathen.
Welcome back. My name is Adam Gorilla,
And this is Angel Montelongo,
and we're here with
Pastor Alex Hernandez.
Rodriguez.
Alex Rodriguez.
Wow.
Hey, this is live. Anything can happen. We're going to have to edit it. Hey, but I just prophesied right now. It's this conference edition of Kingdom Minded Podcast. Alex Hernandez, if you're watching, I prophesied you're going to be a pastor. All right, but now we got Pastor Alex Rodriguez here from Colorado.
Pastor A-Rod, what's going on?
Not much, man. Just here, enjoying conference, enjoying everything that's going on. You guys?
Same, man. Enjoying conference. I had the pleasure of sitting here in my home watching it. It's not the same, but today I just felt God moving in my life, and so I got stirred, and we'll see what happens this year, man.
Yeah, you can be anywhere where God can touch your life, man.
Amen.
Amazing.
Amen.
That power.
Oh, you know what? I just found out that pastor means business. You go into his office, and you're going to walk out going somewhere else. So I'm actually hoping to walk into his office, and I walk out married, and I walk out sent out. So that's what I'm claiming, hopefully by October, because he preached a sermon last year in October, and he said by this time next year, see where you're at. So I'm contending for great things.
Yeah.
Now, is there any ladies that are interested?
Yes, this is a podcast of women of God. I'm a single man. I dropped about 50 pounds and still counting, so just throwing that out there. But
Maybe during the editing, Adam can put your phone number at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, the way they've been doing it in conference, those that prayed, Pastor Eddie Lopez, women of God, if you're interested, text Pastor, and we'll run it through him to talk to.
There you go.
What is going on here?
Oh, sorry. I'm hijacking the show, man. I'm sorry. We're here with Pastor Alex
Rodriguez.
Sorry about that. Whoa. Anyways, Pastor Alex Rodriguez in Colorado.
Hey, man. So what's going on? I know I want to talk about conference. I want to talk about the people that just got sent out today. But I kind of want to catch up with you and talk about what's going on over there. We were there during the summer, and what has gone on since then? Since we went on those outreaches, those invasion teams, what's happened since then, and then how is quarantine life treating you?
So, as you know, every time that Shattered comes out for us, weather falls apart, all hell breaks loose. But after that, people get saved. There was that young girl, I don't know if you guys remember, but she came for the food. She actually started coming to church right after that and got baptized.
Wow.
So that was amazing. We got a young man coming to our church who actually his dad had passed away when Pastor Jerry was here, so they sort of backslid. And so him and his wife and his two daughters started coming to church. They've been coming faithfully for 4 months now. And so God is really moving in this time. And so it's been really exciting just to see what's happening since then, what's going to happen in the future. Only God can tell, especially with everything you said with the virus that's going on, everybody on lockdown. There's a real desperate need for wanting to know God or looking for an answer. And so we're hoping that's the key to unlock revival here in Colorado. It desperately needs it.
Amen.
Awesome, man. Yeah, we love going out there. So that's exciting, man. I do remember that young lady. She was actually walking by when we convinced her to come in. And so
she came for the food, but she stayed for Jesus.
Amen.
Amen.
That's what it's all about.
That's
right?
That's so awesome, man. Those testimonies, it's worth it. It's everything that we go through. It's worth it for those kind of testimonies on the other side. So
and it's just crazy, especially for that play. I think that's the first time we've done that play in the last 4 years where there was 0 visitors. Every time Shatter's come out, we've had 30 plus visitors, and that was the first time where we had 0. I mean, they were come in and off and on, but no one actually stayed.
Right.
So that was kind of different and weird, but God's still moving and God still touched people's hearts. So that was the impactful thing.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
This year we're having a different play. It's a play about a fatherless generation. So we're excited. We were in the middle of putting that together when all this COVID-19 came out, and but I feel like it's gonna be a powerful.
Well, yeah, he's actually already aware of it. He actually wanted us to already go out there. As soon as he heard about it, he was like, "Hey, you guys coming down? When are you coming down?" He's excited.
Since Angel posts everything on WhatsApp, I saw it already. I saw snippets of it, so I'm waiting for it to see how it turns out.
That's right. I forgot.
Oh man, whew. I get excited. I posted a lot of things on WhatsApp, but I was excited. I couldn't hold it. It was like, hey, we're gonna do something good and something new, something fresh. It was exciting. So we're still, this thing's gonna blow over. God's in control. He's on the throne, and we're gonna power on with it. Press forward. We're gonna go out there.
So let's talk about what it's on everybody's mind, and that's the people that got sent out today, man. So Carlos and Destiny, that's awesome.
The Redas taking Colombia for Jesus, man. It's like a gang out there.
Yeah, you can make a bet for playoffs and win something, but with conference you're never gonna get it right. It's just,
man.
You have your mind going, oh, this person's gonna come back, that person's gonna go, this is gonna happen, and conference comes in, it's like, why do I even try? It's always someone completely you did not expect, and that's on international line. That's one that my wife and I weren't expecting. We were blown away. It's amazing that could happen.
Oh yeah,
right.
I mean, I got stirred. I was like, man, this is when I first, just a quick little testimony about Carlos. When I first got saved and established in the church, me and my wife said, we're gonna go to outreach. We're gonna be there. We're gonna be faithful to it. And Carlos kind of took me under his wing in that realm, and he would challenge me. Hey, Adam, we're gonna go to outreach, but I challenge you to pray or try to pray with as many people as you can. And as a new convert, I was, he really set that in my heart where it's like, hey, if you're out there, you're going out there to pray with people. And he would tell me stories about how he was in Florida and he would go in the back of Walmart and just start street preaching as loud as he could until somebody kicked him out. And while they were kicking him out, he was, on the top of his lungs, preaching
on the buses,
preaching God, and then he challenged me to get on the Sun Metro bus and do that. And, just being bold and being out there with your faith and how to street preach and all this. And he told me once, if you're not getting kicked out or arrested, you're not really doing it right. So, I think it's amazing that he's going to go out. I think he's really going to take Colombia.
Bogota.
For Jesus.
It's going to be exciting, man. To get out there. He's been prepped for this. I know he's always been wanting to do that. So it's going to be amazing to see what happens there. It's going to be a family affair.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what, Pastor, how you mentioned the playoffs earlier, I was thinking about that earlier today, how when we weren't saved, the biggest day, for football season was the draft, all the players, who's going to go what team, what this and that.
Yeah.
And here, it is just a whole different thing when you get saved, how it's a different, it's just a whole different mentality. Like, oh man, who are they going to send out? That's our draft. You know what I mean? As Christians, conference is our draft. Like who's the guys that are going to rise up? Who are they going to send out? Who's going next year? Who's replacing him? It's exciting, man. Just the atmosphere. Even though we're streaming it, I have the pleasure of being there during conference, and it still feels just like Pastor Stevens is saying. Even in the home, people are saying that they feel the presence of God in their homes, and they're even there in the sanctuary. We have maybe a small amount of people, but it's just powerful. You can just feel the Spirit of God in there. You know what I mean? It just was really exciting tonight. Same thing. I'm pretty sure you felt the same at home with your family.
It's amazing that just with conference, and then the churches in Africa. Randy went out there a number of years ago, and then Jerry, and then now it's nationalized, and they're sending out churches, and those churches are sending out churches, people that are established. It's amazing what God is doing through one person's life who's willing to surrender. And so that's what we're seeing, and tomorrow's going to be even more exciting.
And getting back to what Adam was asking about, how's the quarantine life, treating? Obviously, we're quarantined. I know that a lot of us look at each other. We're all in desperate need of a haircut. That right now. Some of us are, snacking away at home or on the job. This guy right here, so I got to take it easy. But anyway, so what are your plans? You've been working on some sermons. What can you kind of give us a little peek about how are you going to come up out of this? Like, what's next for you once everything blows over?
Yeah, one of the things I was actually working on today was just an idea is, there's simple instructions on how to listen to just what's going on, to authorities, stay in home if you can, all that stuff. And I thought of Exodus, when God tells the people that a plague's going to come around and take the firstborn. But with that, he gives instructions, sacrifice the lamb, get the blood, put on a hyssop and put it on the doorpost and stay inside. And so them staying inside, following those instructions, saved their lives and saved their firstborn sons' lives. And so when I thought of that, I thought, it's unfortunately, it's just that simple. If you just listen, wash your hands, clean yourself, stay inside if you can, your life's going to be you're going to come out of this all right.
Right.
And so, it's just one thing that, I have to write to my church, because obviously we can't meet, because here in Colorado, we're in a full lockdown. And so you're only allowed to go out for essential stuff, grocery, food. Other than that, work, if it's essential. So it's hard you can't really go to someone's house and fellowship with them, because I guess
Can't do
you'd
that
be
here
breaking the
either.
law. So it's a little
Can't do
tough.
that here either, but we're twisting it just a little bit. We're trying to do 6 feet.
Yeah.
Or so.
There are
Right.
some, but
It depends on what ruler you're using,
Yeah.
If you're using Gabriel as a sidebar, the door director, that's you guys about 6 feet.
Well, interesting enough, Carlos Reza had said, why don't you just go around with a measuring stick? And then we went into like a biblical reference. I said, I'm just going to keep going till the water reaches my neck. You know what I mean? I'm keep walking. So, we're going to end up doing that. But I was going to ask you, I'll get into it real quick. With the, I guess how we're talking about how you're you said about Exodus and the whole quarantine thing. My thing was, how you just mentioned, you touched on being able to fellowship with people, visit people. As a pastor, of course, your heart's for people. You want your congregation, you're a shepherd of that flock. You're overseeing them. How do you keep your people encouraged during this time? You're texting them. They're used to seeing you preach. I talked to someone today that went to clean the church, and they were there one night, but they were there for the live stream when we heard Pastor Greg Mitchell, and she's like, it would have been nice to hear some live preaching. So that's like, wow, I could just imagine. So how do you keep your people encouraged during this time? I know they want to see you in action too.
Yeah, it's a very difficult, a weird time.
Yeah.
No one who's ever pastored, whether it's Pastor Stevens or Pastor Mitchell, have never experienced anything like this, where you're not able to do what you do on a weekly basis. And so it's just finding a way to connect. I'll send text with a whole, page idea, maybe a sermon, not a sermon, but an outline of thoughts that I'm going through, like pastor's thoughts of a day, and I'll send it to them, try to keep in contact, encourage them, challenge them. I told them that even though that they're not in church doesn't mean that they live any less for Jesus.
Amen.
That they still have to pray at home. They still have to get a hold of God. They're still gonna have to give. They're still gonna have to live right. Just being quarantined doesn't mean you're quarantined from living in a right relationship with Jesus. So just keeping in contact through text, phone calls, messaging, have a group chat with the guys. We'll talk during conference, the sermon, what they thought. So just trying to keep them inside of it, not to forget what they're doing and how their life was prior to this, because we're going to get back to normal eventually.
Or some kind of normal, at least.
A new kind of normal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're not going to be shaking hands anymore, during service. It's like,
No,
I'm good.
One thing that I was thinking about today was how comfortable people. I know people like us, right? We want to be in the church. We want to be there, but some people might get comfortable being at home, and so I wonder how we go about, in the transition of going back to the church, how that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's
There's
keeping
some
that
rooms that
relationship
are
with
closed.
people. Yeah, it's keeping that relationship with people and challenging them. I know, like with El Paso, their live stream is not access for everybody during regular service times. I think you have to have a password. So it's gonna be kind of hard to stay at home and watch service if you can't get in. And so, and then just follow up, challenge them. Hey, don't forget, this is where we're at. And again, it's just going to be that outpouring of God's Spirit. When you see people getting saved and want to come to church finally, you're going to want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
You're going to have to encourage people to recapture that vision if they get to that point. But the whole point of this online conference, as Pastor said, is to maintain it. We're not going to drop the ball just because this happened. God knew it was going to happen, and so we have to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So just challenging the people the same way.
Yeah, man. Speaking about Pastor, that last little soliloquy that he gave, it really stirred me, man. Just like this is why we're here, and this is what we're supposed to be doing, and nothing's gonna stop us. If we have to do it from our house, we're gonna keep going. Me and the guys from Kingdom Business Angel, you know, we felt the same way about the edge. We can't go to the edge, but we're gonna have to keep doing this.
Yeah.
It can't stop. That place has fruit, and there's people answering altar calls, and this is what we do, and we just got to keep moving with that ministry. And it was kind of refreshing to hear he's like our general. Like, now we're gonna keep fighting. We're gonna keep going until the last day. And it was just really refreshing, really encouraging to hear our leader, kind of have that kind of perspective on everything that's going on.
Yeah, it comes with his experience and wisdom and knowledge. He knows that this is going to pass. This isn't going to be forever. And so, if you get a church used to something, they're going to, or, think that this is it. Like I said, the new normal, they're going to want that the rest of their life. And so he's got to break us out of that complacency and say, no, we're doing it because we have to. But once we don't have to anymore, hell's going to be shaking.
Amen.
We're going to break through.
One last, well, not really one last question, but we know that the weather is very bipolar out there, worse than El Paso. So right now, is it snowing? Is it raining? Is it sunny? Is it cloudy? Is it all in one? I know we're doing this at night, but you have to ask because Denver's unpredictable, like the drivers out there.
Like Juarez. You mean Juarez, not here. The drivers in Juarez are unpredictable. El Paso over there.
We'll bring Pastor Caleb on the show. We'll see what he has to say about that.
He would agree. I saw him driving on the sidewalk. Yeah, it's very, very weird. It just snowed right now, but it's going to be gone by tomorrow. We'll have at least more good snow in May, if that. I think there's going to be snow at the end of April, but it was 69 yesterday, 69, 70 degrees yesterday. And then today it's 30 degrees. And so you just learn how to deal with it.
Are the freeways empty pretty much out there? Because I know we would be driving in, of course, it's chaos at all hours there, you know what I mean? Toll roads and whatnot. It's very busy city going into Denver and the surrounding areas, the suburbs and whatnot. So is it pretty much light right there when you're getting around to work or whatnot, or you're working from home or going into the office?
No, I still go to the office, but the good thing for me is that when I moved here, I found, when you pioneer, you really have no idea where your church and work is going to be. But since the church was already here, I was able to find something near that. So I avoid the highway. I'm basically 5 minutes away drive time. 2 lights, and then the same from the church from my house. So it's very simple for me. I avoid the highway at all costs, and so I have no idea what it looks like. But I'm pretty sure it's not as packed as it is because everything's shut down. That's not essential.
That's cool. Going back to the sports reference and the draft and all that stuff. Now, when you were drafted, when you got the call up to go get sent out, how long have you been?
Call it the tap.
Huh?
We call it the tap. During conference when they tap you, say, "Hey, pastor's looking for you."
Okay,
that's what it's.
When you got tapped and you and your wife went up and they were going to announce you, kind of tell us what you felt and what you think Carlos and his wife are talking about right now. According to Pastor and his thing, they didn't even know about it. So it was kind of this thing that was just like, you're going. So tell me what you felt like when you got tapped and what you think Carlos is thinking. Take us through his mindset right now as he prepares his family to go.
So when I was door director and when I got sent out to the West Side, I was expecting it. I was ready. But when we wanted us to come to Colorado, I was kind of hesitant. We hadn't even fully been there a year in the West Side. And so I remember my wife was pregnant with Logan at the time. And I usually tell this people that I'm close with, so I'm telling a lot of people. But Pastor Steven said, so what about, Colorado? There's a good church there, all that stuff. I'm like, well, Pastor, my wife's pregnant. What am I going to do? And he just looked at me like if I was stupid and said, they have hospitals over there. But to me, I was afraid and I forgot. you know, like, oh yeah, there are hospitals over there. So, you know, fear kind of hit me, but it was like, no, let's do it. Uh, and so we were excited, man. We didn't know what to expect. You know, you're walking into a pioneer work, you have no idea what's going to happen. You have no idea what's going to take place. You hear of, you know, transitions happening where they don't like the new pastor, they all leave. And so all that stuff is running through your mind, like, what's going to happen when I get there? But overall, it was excitement, you know, getting ready to be a part of the will of God, something I'd been wanting since I was a disciple before I was married. I knew what I wanted to do is be a part of the will of God. And so that was exciting to finally get there. And so I know, you know, you're leaving your family, you're leaving, you know, everybody that we know is in El Paso. No one's here in Colorado. Everybody's in El Paso or somewhere in Texas. And so, you know, he's leaving, you know, his dad's going to be there, but, you know, Destiny's, you know, dad and family's there in El Paso. His sisters are in El Paso. And so it's going to be, you know, a little heartbreaking, but it becomes easier as you get within, you know, that you're doing what you're doing, and they're all been a part of it for a long time. You know, church kids, their dad pioneering, and so they get how it works. And so,
Yeah.
you know, I think he's a little bit more prepared and excited, but still not, no doubt, there's going to be tears. There's going to be a lot of prayer and a lot of just trusting in God.
Yeah, we're referencing that he pulled the Pastor Quintero. He just jumped and he went straight international, and
And he
so
never
that's
came
awesome.
back. He stayed overseas.
Yeah, so it's like,
Yeah,
wow, you know what I
Pastor
mean?
Quintero.
So
Yeah.
we're thinking the whole, you know, the legacy, you know, Pastor Quintero, Josh, you know, maybe hopefully Josh does the same thing, goes international out there, and then they get the Ruedas too. So it's just awesome. We're very excited for them. Just
Yeah.
powerful night tonight.
Yeah. It was, you know, when Caleb got announced to go to Mexico, it was exciting for him. You know,
Yeah.
not, it's not overseas. Well, it's over a body of water, but not really
Yeah.
over.
I don't know if you can call it
If you
body of
call it that.
Either way, it's
But
difficult to cross it. So I mean, we're still gonna say, you know what?
yeah, it takes 5 hours to cross over the
Yeah,
border, so we'll
That's
still
true.
give him credit. But I know he's mentioned to me many times that it's a blessing for him because he's been able to brush up on his Bible studying, sermonizing. He gets to devote himself fully to that, and so that's going to be a great blessing for Carlos to be able to give himself fully to the will of God, and then no doubt it's going to turn his ministry around.
I know when Caleb got sent out to Mexico. Before that, I was his assistant in youth, and I remember him helping me on how to preach and how to put my sermons together, and him just on his sermons. Well, last year, towards the end of last year, we went over there on an impact team, Kingdom Business. We did a little concert right before revival, and just hearing him pull an altar call was like night and day. I remember sitting in on his preaching when we were with the youth, and compare that to him being out in the harvest field. Just it was just a night and day comparison on how he's developed as a preacher. And you know, I expect nothing less from Carlos.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing when it happens. You know, who knows when they'll finally be able to get to leave. You know, that's going to probably the thing that's going to bother him the most is he's announced now, so he's ready to get out of here,
Yeah,
but he can't. You know, he's held down for however long they're going to put this ban in place, but you know, he's going to be, once they said, all right, you're good to go, he's out.
yeah,
He's going to be gone. He's
And
going to
the
be
good
ready
thing
to
I think
finally leave.
that's going to help him. I think when Pastor Steven said he's going to kind of, I guess, be under the wing of his father, he's going to be in that church for about a couple of months. He said like 3 months just to get seasoned, you know, and you know, kind of
Yeah.
the language and whatnot, get familiarized with it again. But that's awesome because I remember Carlos always, you know, wherever his dad was, there he was. And I remember when the Spanish ministry, when Pastor Reda was doing Spanish ministry, you know, for outreaches, it was just me, him, and Carlos. And I was very bummed out, like, oh, where's everybody at? Like, I went in there, like, let's do this, you know? And then he's like,
Yeah.
sometimes this is all just me and my dad in Florida. So he already had that mentality, like, wow, you know, this is awesome, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just going back, switching gears to when you said sermonizing, I know that you have a really good relationship with all these guys. I know you sermonize with Pastor Caleb, I think Pastor Nick Rogers in China, I think, and Pastor Andre in Florida. So I know you guys all got together. So have you been doing some of that while you're, you know, locked down, I guess, at home?
We haven't this week, obviously with conference, and last week it was kind of tough. But we try to at least. I think the last time we did was 3 weeks ago. But it's just good to you know, just get together, get our thoughts together, and work on a sermon. see them work on their outline. They got all great ideas, great
Absolutely.
revelation, golden nuggets.
Yeah, it's gonna be more exciting because I mean, look at just the way God ties everybody in. Because you know, with you know Nick, you know, Pastor Caleb just preached for him. You know, a live stream to China. That
Yeah.
was awesome. And then I know Carlos and Nick, Carlos and Nick and Andre, all disciples in the Florida church under Pastor Reda. So that's gonna be awesome. I mean, seeing all you guys come together, it could just give me like a powerful sermon, man. Just brainstorming at its best, you know.
Yeah, and that's what's been exciting when you serve God and you grow up with people that are in ministry and all that stuff, because you have plans. You know, I remember all my friends, we always talked about, when I preach, you're going to do a revival for me, and I'm going to do a revival for you, and we're going to do revivals for churches and for free. You know,
Yeah.
that's the main part. But that's the desire, is like, man, we're all going to be in this together. And so to see Caleb finally get set out, and then, you know, I didn't really know Andre and Nick and Carlos that much since they were in Florida, but when they came, we got to know each other. Seeing them get sent out, and then, you know, seeing Gabriel going to get sent out, you know, seeing all that, Vince and Nicole, Luis and Cynthia were the door directors right after me. So I worked with Luis a lot. He'll tell you a lot of bad stories about me, but they're not true.
None of them are true.
But none of them are true, unless they're good. Then those are obviously the right ones. But to see all that happen, you see people doing all the things you said you guys were going to do when you were growing up together in the ministry, or, you know, in church, and doing things like that. So it's incredible to see these three guys. They've been in together for a while now, you know, since Florida, obviously.
Yeah.
And to see them all out different parts of the world.
Absolutely.
Andre went back to his roots.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
So Gabriel's
And
getting sent out tomorrow, you think?
I think one more year. He sort of came in the middle of it. Door director does a lot of shaping. And so I think every guy who's needs that, to get that shaping, get the Craig Cannon treatment.
Well, it's a start treatment, yeah. We'll end it on that note, huh?
And speaking of playoffs, I actually guessed that Andre was going to be going to Orlando.
Oh.
I had called him and I was like, hey, man, so have they figured anything for Orlando? He said, no, nothing yet. I said, I think you're going to go. I said, well, why me? He said, and this was the Friday. So the Friday before Sunday, he got announced. So he already knew. He goes, well, why me? I said, well, you've been there before, so you know how the town works. You know the people. I think it'd just be a great fit. And he played it off, man, good. He's like, oh, well, yeah, we'll see. I don't think so. And then Sunday night, he gets announced. Sunday morning, I'm like, that stinking liar. So finally, one prophecy I get right, and he lied to me.
So so we're gonna say, so just right now, you're prophesying that Gabriel's gonna stay another year.
I don't want to get stoned if I'm wrong. You know, in
But
my
is that
daily
your
Bible
final
reading,
answer,
we're
or
going
just-
through that. I don't need that. What's up?
All right. So you know how you said with so you said you had you got it correct with Pastor Andre. So we're gonna end here with what's gonna be the tomorrow. Who do you know for sure that you think, I'm feeling this is what's gonna happen, and we're gonna go with that for this year.
This is the problem. This conference is not ordinary.
No, it's not.
True.
So there are a lot of people getting virtually tapped right now on their phones. They're getting text, hey, call me, you know, from Pastor Steven.
You were just getting text right now. Did you hear this thing's going off? He even looked down at his phone.
The pastor's calling to his office. Youth again.
I'm not cooked yet.
Yeah, you just
One
insert
more year.
the to be continued right here. Insert it.
But so we'll see what happens. I mean, anything can happen.
Hey, man,
Anything could take
anything
place
can happen
this
in
year.
it, right?
Yeah. For all we know, a single guy can get sent out. You know, that's how crazy times we live in.
I don't know.
That's never going to happen. But it's just we can't expect anything this year.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's amazing what God's doing. Well, Pastor Alex, I thank you for joining us.
Bring back that Whataburger next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Double meat with cheese, double cheese.
Bacon.
Oh, you got it. Jalapeno?
But keep up the good work. Keep winning those people over. Facebook Live. Send me the link next time. I didn't know you guys were doing that. My son likes Kingdom Business.
And we had 10,000 viewers last time.
We have the concert on YouTube, actually, right?
We go live on Facebook and then post it on YouTube. But last time we had 10,000 viewers with 10 people who responded to the altar call message. So
yeah, send me that. And Logan likes that rap, and then I'll be waiting for my sweatshirt.
Maybe I'll send it to Logan. I'll send it to Logan. You're gonna have to buy one, buddy.
Hey, it's okay. I actually have to still pay for my stuff, so.
I need to talk to you guys as marketing manager.
There you go.
Hey, send me his size so that way I send him one.
I'll make sure to get that.
All right,
I got your number.
I appreciate
All
you,
right.
man.
Thanks
Thanks.
for coming
Thank
out.
you.
Appreciate you.
Talk to you guys later.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
have a good night. God bless.
I don't know how to leave this thing.